And I just turned around and I hauled ass out of there. I was done. I wasn't dealing with that.
The hypocrisy of the cult is one of the things that turned me away the quickest.
When I turned my headlights on, it turned and looked at us. And one of the things I remember the most were the eyes were glowing red.
I see an orb of light. It is just circling these steps like it is waiting for me.
And he begins to tell them that he saw a UFO. They're basically like, what are you talking about? That's 7 foot up on a tree, peeking around it, and that's where I saw the top of the muzzle, nose, and the eyes. As soon as I made eye contact with this thing, it felt like death.
Welcome back to Tinfoil Tales. Tonight, my guest is Tony. Tony, thanks for coming on here and talking with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Would you like to let the audience know a little bit about yourself before we get into it?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I was in the fitness nutrition industry and kind of got me into what I'm doing now, which is more oral hygiene, oral health. That kind of comes from the nutrition side of things. I studied overseas with a couple holistic practitioners and started learning some of the poisons that were in some of our products and our deodorants and our toothpaste and our shampoos and so on and so forth. And my business partner, he had a dental insurance company, and in the past, so then we kind of merged the two ideas of holistic health and nutrition and dental, and realized there wasn't any products out there that had any natural products out there that was like a true advanced brushing system for oral hygiene. So that's kind of how Fresh Mouth Club was born. And then we branched off in Noble Metals Wellness. That became our aluminum free deodorant and silver soap and a couple other products, supplements like methylene blue and monatomic gold for the spiritual aspect as well, and psychic abilities and everything like that. But Fresh Mouth Club, that's our main venture. And we started learning how toxic fluoride was, and kind of went from there because we had some opportunities with some dental companies, with some dental insurance companies actually, to market our idea with. It was going to be a toothpaste, a mouth rinse, a toothbrush, and floss. And really, the idea was like, wow, this could take off like overnight, almost like an overnight success type thing. They already had, hundreds of thousands of clients on their insurance plans, and we figured, why wouldn't they want their clients to have healthy teeth, so that way they don't have to pay out in claims. And they loved the idea until we didn't use fluoride. So that put a huge kibosh on things, and they wouldn't work with us unless we put fluoride in the toothpaste. And after doing the research and finding all the studies and all the information out there where fluoride comes from, the true reason why they put it in our toothpaste, the real reason why they put it in our water, just ethically, we couldn't continue doing something that had that kind of poison in it. So that's why we kind of bailed on that and started grinding it out basically. So what we started doing trade shows, kind of where I met you, right? I met you at a paranormal event and everything. So we started doing so many different events. Started at farmers markets and county fairs, and that led into health and wellness. And then kind of realized that a lot of people that are into like paranormal and UFOs, like we did Contact in the Desert, all of those individuals are looking for very similar things. Well, different things because we do political shows as well, but politics, UFOs, paranormal, um, health and wellness, the main commonality in all of those buckets is the truth. They all want the truth, right? So I'm sure a lot of your listeners out there, they want to know the truth about what's going on. They want to know the truth about things that are being hidden from us, right? So that's kind of where we came in doing the different types of shows that we do. Is all of those individuals want the truth. So it doesn't matter if it's UFOs and paranormal or health and wellness or politics. a lot of those groups are looking for similar things in that aspect, at least. So that's kind of where we came in with the fluoride and everything, and non-fluoride. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of the history and the start of everything.
Mm-hmm. When you look into stuff like this, and I know it's part of how they go about trying to control things and dictate things, but is there anything out there for like if someone was interested in this type of stuff that actually shows the benefits to not having the fluoride in their stuff and all this, like the aluminums in your system? Or has there ever been any studies that prove that for someone that's like skeptic of it or anything that?
Oh, there's so many. And on our new website, on the Noble Metals Wellness website, I have posted some of the scientific studies, the ones on some of the ones on the dangers of aluminum, some of the ones on the benefits of silver, benefits of monatomic gold, methylene blue. So I have a lot of those scientific studies posted on there. We have a lot of information about fluoride on the Freshmouth site. So, and I can even touch on it if you're good with it. A couple of the examples of some of the scientific studies with fluoride.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and the aluminum, of course. See, the whole thing with aluminum and fluoride, and this is what got us into the aluminum aspect as well. So, fluoride, a lot of people they think that fluoride is a natural occurring element. A lot of the pushback that we'll get at some of the trade shows and expos is, well, it's on the periodic table. Fluoride is not on the periodic table. Fluorine is on the periodic table. Fluoride is a byproduct of the manufacturing of aluminum. So a lot of these, Alcoa and DuPont and a lot of these aluminum companies that made aluminum in the past and currently, when they're making the aluminum, they have these, and I'm sure most people have seen at least a picture of these enormous smokestacks, right? That have all this smoke billowing out of the smokestacks. And, a lot of it was out in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh and stuff. But the smoke that's coming out of those smokestacks, what gets stuck in there is the fluoride. So when they scrape those smokestacks, that's what they're scraping. It's toxic waste, and that's what the fluoride is. And instead of spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to get rid of the toxic waste, they sell it back to the municipalities. So there's a ton of science on fluoride. The CDC deems it a neurotoxin. It's on their website. You can, anybody has public access to it can look it up. And then on the Fluoride Action Network, they have all of the studies, the true scientific studies posted about fluoride. So some of the easy ones, it's the number one ingredient in rat poison. So no matter if you're putting rat poison on your gums and your teeth, or you're swallowing it, whatever the case is, I don't think anybody would willingly want to put rat poison anywhere near their mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's weird to me that they use it for rat poison, but yeah, everyone's brushing their teeth with it.
Everybody's brushing their teeth with
And
it.
they
Exactly.
put it in the water. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. They have studies that go as detailed into the percentage of pregnant women, and even if they're pregnant with a boy or pregnant with a girl. So they even go that detailed, where if a woman is over fluoridated, which the large majority of people are, and if they're pregnant with a little girl, then the little girl has a much higher chance of of having uh what is it? Oh boy, I'm drawing a blank right now. The boy has a 82% chance of, she's pregnant with a boy. The boy has like an 82% chance of ADHD if she's over fluoridated. And the girl, if she's pregnant with a girl, she has a high chance of thyroid issues, which is another thing that's been kind of much more common lately with women. So they've even gone into the studies of women that are pregnant. And then there's so many different studies just based on neurological issues and neurological problems that are out there, which honestly kind of leads into the whole reason why it was put in our water in the first place. Because a lot of people, when I was in the fitness and nutrition industry, I would get a lot of questions about why, I brush my teeth multiple times a day. I don't understand why am I still getting cavities, right? And at that time I was more into like your proper micronutrients, macronutrients, vitamins, minerals, things of that nature. So my answer to that was let's eat healthier and brush your teeth more. But when you look at what fluoride actually does as the chemical, it changes the chemical structure of the tooth. So that's why people get more cavities. However, they didn't put fluoride in the water, obviously, to help us. So the real reason when you do that, when you look at the history of it, we always hear to make the atomic bomb, and I know this kind of sounds like way off topic, right? We're talking about atomic bombs, but to make the atomic bomb, we always hear about uranium and how much uranium you need, and countries selling uranium to other countries, and so on and so forth, right? But without fluoride, you can't make the atomic bomb because fluoride is what actually enriches and enhances the uranium. So during the arms race, every country was involved in trying to make these weapons. It wasn't just the US, it wasn't just the US and Russia, it was all the countries trying to make these nuclear weapons. Everybody pulled out for the most part at least, except for the US. The reason that the US was the ones that actually succeeded in these nuclear weapons was when everyone else pulled out, the reasoning was that a lot of the workers were having neurological issues, high risks and high numbers of cancer, a lot of bone problems, hip problems, knee problems. So they had all these different ailments and they pulled out from making fluoride. We, however, the US, continue to make it because, well, that was the only way that the nuclear weapons could be completed. Now we had to find a way to make it safe and effective, right? Or come across as this is a healthy thing and it's good for us, not something that's bad. So they ran two different tests. And again, this stuff is on the Fluoride Action Network as well. So you could see these studies. But the first one was if you took a tooth and you put it in a petri dish and you covered that tooth with fluoride particulates, it did show that it would protect it and stop sucralose or sugar from attacking and rotting out the tooth. But now if you think about that, you take a tooth, you put it in a petri dish. If you did that exact same test and you covered it in wax, candle wax, you'd have the same result. Candle wax would stop sucralose or sugar from attacking the tooth in the petri dish. Then they did another test and showed that fluoride could actually harden the enamel on the teeth. So that was the main one that they pushed because if fluoride can actually harden the enamel, well, then that would stop cavities or slow cavities down in the process. Now, that test is true. The studies do show that fluoride, short term, can strengthen or harden the enamel. Long term, more than 3 to 5 years, it does kind of what I said at the beginning. It changes the chemical structure of your tooth from calcium phosphorus to now calcium fluoride, which does the complete opposite of the original study. So, long term usage of fluoride will actually soften the enamel, making it more prone to sugar, sucralose, all these different sugars, and allowing the bacteria to attack the tooth. When you look at what the number one cause of cavities is, it's fluorosis. So which is over overuse of fluoride, and it's in our water, it's in our toothpaste, it's in cookware, it's in some of the clothes that we wear. A lot now, it's so prevalent. It's in the air we breathe sometimes. And if you looked across the entire country, so if you and it's public knowledge, you can look at the every municipality's water system. The higher the level of fluoride in the municipality, the lower the IQ. And it's anecdotal evidence, but without exception, you look at those numbers, the higher the level of fluoride, the lower the IQ in that area. So there's all kinds of different problems with overfluoridation. And it's one of those things that, yeah, you can't totally get away from it right now because, guess what? Even bottled water, a lot of bottled water has fluoride, except for Fiji, and there's another one, Waikiki, are the only two bottled waters that actually don't really have fluoride, or if it's uh, depending on the type of filter that they use. So if it's reverse osmosis, then that doesn't have fluoride as well. But those are things that you could watch out for and look for, and just to try to stay healthier. But the other thing is, and this kind of gets into a little bit more conspiracy, right? This is Hitler used fluoride in the concentration camps in Germany because fluoride, again, and this is another study that's on the internet that is public knowledge, but when you overuse fluoride, it also makes you more docile, makes you more open to suggestion, makes you more programmable. So when he used it in the concentration camps, it was to do just that. It was to control the masses that were in the concentration camps, make sure they didn't rebel, make sure they listened, make sure they were able to be more programmable and more docile. Now that's one I'm not going to say is like out there that's why they're doing it to us. That's something, take it or leave it. That's more of a conspiracy thing that somebody can look into deeper. And, there's a lot of different rabbit holes you can go down for that kind of stuff. But it is a reason that it was used in Germany back during the war. So none of those things scream to me benefit that I want to try and use it for myself. So, yeah, that's kind of why we switched it out. But when you look at aluminum, it's, fluoride comes from, like I said, the process of making aluminum. The side effects of aluminum it's identical to the side effects of fluoride. They both cross the blood-brain barrier. Aluminum is found on one of the few elements that's found on the brain when they do autopsies after somebody's passed from dementia or Alzheimer's. Is you have the amyloid plaque sticky buildup. Aluminum is always in that amyloid plaque when they do the autopsies after somebody's passed from dementia or Alzheimer's. So aluminum, there was actually a big recall recently for deodorants that had aluminum, and they were pretty big name brand deodorants, but it plugs up your system. So when you put the deodorant on, there's aluminum. That's why it's antiperspirant, stops the sweat from coming out. But it plugs up your glands, so it doesn't allow your system to actually filter out the toxins. And then what happens is obviously the toxins stay in your body and filter through the blood consistently over and over and over again. And that's a huge cause of a lot of illnesses nowadays. So there's definitely a lot of studies that long. I know it's a very long answer to the question about the studies and everything on fluoride, but that's why we swapped out the fluoride for the silver, because silver is like extremely antibacterial.
I've heard stories from other people beforehand, and they've talked about using silver, and then I've seen some of the things online that claims one of the worst things about the silver is it turns like your skin color blue. Have you heard anything like that?
Yep, there is that's the main thing that mainstream media uses to kind of demonize silver is if you did drink a lot of colloidal silver. So there was a guy that did that. Now they don't talk about the context with it. The guy was he was seriously ill and trying to cure the illness with silver, and he was drinking over a gallon a day of colloidal silver, and now that will turn your skin blue. Now, colloidal silver, it's ions, where we use nanosilver. So nanosilver are particles. So it's just a matter of the size of the particle. Both are pretty invisible to the naked eye, but it does make a difference in the body when you're looking at the size of that particle. So colloidal silver, it doesn't pass through digestion. So that's why it's able to turn your skin blue. And then it's kind of like the old school dark rooms when, you're right around my age. So you probably remember when you used to have to take, you take pictures with a camera. You have to take it to the local corner store to get the pictures developed, and they'd put them in a dark room to develop them. It has the same effect, colloidal silver, with the size of those ions. Since it doesn't pass through digestion, it floats through the blood system, and then you go out in the sun, and it's kind of similar to the dark room, and it'll actually pull that silver to the surface, and then that's what turns your skin blue. That's kind of the easiest explanation I can give, but nano silver passes through digestion, so you never have that problem. So that's what we use in our toothpaste. The other thing with nano silver, when you nanotize it and have it, the particles that small, they can actually get in between the tooth and the gum. So we're typically told when you get older, your teeth fall out, right? Which is sort of true, as we know. But the huge study that old age is not a disease that causes your teeth to fall out. So it's not the old age that's the cause of it. So there has to be another reason. Well, what happens as we go through life, a lot of us will get periodontal disease or gum disease, and there's not a lot of pain associated with that. So if somebody gets gum disease, most people will go through life and never realize that they even have it. But the bacteria is still there, and it eats away, it festers, it builds, and then as we get older, our teeth fall out. But it's that bacteria buildup that's in between the tooth and the gum. Now, when you nanotize the silver, it can actually penetrate in between the tooth and the gum and stop that from happening and prevent that from ever happening and that bacteria from ever forming. So there's a lot of benefits to silver with oral, but there's a lot of benefits overall. And I'll kind of give a few terms that you're probably familiar with, and a lot of the listeners and people that I've talked to are familiar with. Have you ever heard the term "born with a silver spoon in your mouth"?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that comes from. So we know that born with a silver spoon in your mouth, yeah, it kind of means you're a rich, spoiled brat or part of the elites or something
Well
of
off.
that nature. Yeah. So so that's what it was way back too. So born with a silver spoon in your mouth was actually used in term because in the Roman era, that's what the elites used was actual silverware because it killed all the bacteria that might be on the food. They would even drop silver coins into like jugs of water or milk or whatever they were going to drink because that would kill the bacteria of the drink as well. So, and then kind of back to what you said about it turning your skin blue, the term blue bloods. That's probably another term that you've heard, and that's another one that was created because of silver. Because the elites were known as blue bloods because the silver would turn their blood a tinge blue. So that's kind of where that term was founded. Was based off of the elites using silver in an everyday use, the silverware, the coins, and now we've kind of the technology now is we don't have to drop a silver coin in water. Basically, they do underwater arching with silver, and then that allows the particles to float freely in the water, and then you can drink it. You can do a dropper full of it, and it actually will boost your immune system a little bit more than vitamin C will.
Do you think that, and this is just an opinion, so it's not 100% fact from either one, but like the reason I feel like there's fluoride and stuff, and you kind of alluded to the stuff when you mentioned the Hitler aspect, but I think what year did they start kind of putting fluoride into stuff? Do you know offhand?
It was, I want to say it was in the late 30s is when they started. I think the 50s was when they ran, I want to say 54, 55. I'm not positive. I don't have it in front of me. But the very first test in water was Grand Rapids, Michigan. I think they were comparing Grand Rapids, Michigan to Saginaw, I think. And it was supposed to be like a 5 or 10 year study, and they were going to run the study on basically put in the water. And I don't know if there was permission involved, but who knows if the citizens voted on it or not. But the study did run, and they stopped it after 2 years because the results were not in their favor and quickly spiraling faster out of their favor. So they just completely stopped the study and added fluoride to both cities, which makes no sense whatsoever.
And say if it's not showing good results and they pushed it out to everyone anyways, it seems kind of screwed up. But
Hmm.
what I was getting to is if they know the dangers of this and they know what it can do and they're pushing that on the people by putting it in the drinking water, they're putting it in the toothpaste and everything else that we involve ourselves into, that means to me they want it to do whatever it does to us because they know the side effects from it. They know what it can do to people, and they're doing it in a way to dumb down society or make us sick or whatever, because the things that can help us and live longer and be better off, they don't want to. And the moment that stuff gets brought up, it's kind of pushed back into the burner and they give you all these side effects from it and this and that, but they don't ever mention the side effects of the stuff that they're poisoning you with.
Absolutely. That's an interesting statement because you're right. They mention all the side effects of other things, but then the stuff that they're putting in there, like fluoride, they don't talk about the side effects of it, right? And I would have to agree with you. I don't see why they would continue to do it, except for one of two reasons or both, right? One, money, because none of these companies want to pay to rid of toxic wastes, right? So if they can sell it, they're going to sell it. But then on the flip side, there's a benefit when you look at a benefit to them, right? Not to us, but when you look at the studies, like through, I don't know if you get any like deep into like MK Ultra and some of these things that the CIA had done, and now again, these things are public knowledge now. You can find them online. You can look them up. Some of them are redacted, but there's some websites. Stephen Greer actually, he's got a website where you could find all. He's got all the studies of like all these different things, like MK Ultra, all the sub studies through MK Ultra. I think there's like 67 or 68 subcategories through MK Ultra even, and he's got them all listed, and he's got them like they're not redacted. He's got the whistleblowers interviews on there and everything. It's really really interesting to go through some of it, but that was part of it. The whole idea way back then, you think of all these different things in MK Ultra for mind control and suggestion and all these things that they used. Well, fluoride was definitely one that was a little bit simpler once they got it out to the masses to control, to control your thoughts or minds or suggestions at least, because you had all these subliminal messages, especially back then. We had all these subliminal messages through our marketing, through not that we don't have it now, we do, but certain words, certain visuals, all these different things. And then if you were heavily fluoridated, you were more open to those suggestions. You were more open to just kind of following the sheeple, we'll say, right? And following them right off the cliff if that's what they wanted you to do. And then aluminum, they actually have information out there where because aluminum crosses the blood brain barrier, if you mix that aluminum, so there's a couple things with that. One, if you mix aluminum with certain ingredients into the body, into the blood, you can actually cause, and these are studies that have been out there. I believe Judy Mikovich was one of the ones that kind of brought it out. Um, that for peanuts, for instance, if you took aluminum and you mixed aluminum um, uh, with peanuts, you could cause an allergic reaction, meaning or make the person allergic to peanuts. So growing up, and I don't know if you kind of feel the same way, but for me, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, you didn't have all these different kids allergic to all these different things. You know, now they say like what 1 out of 4 kids is allergic to something.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have that growing up. I mean, we played outside. We rolled around in the dirt. We had fun. We had to be home by time the street lights came on. Kind of that was what I grew up around. And now, and again, this is something that people would have to do a little bit of research on different things that's not easy to talk about, but there are things that are out there that aluminum is mixed with some of these certain ingredients and very readily available, and you don't need to give permission to get it and so on and so forth. But also, since it crosses the blood brain barrier, that's the other aspect is they've done different frequency tests on people that have had heavy exposure to aluminum. And because it crosses the blood brain barrier, that suggestion goes a lot further than it does with just fluoride. Fluoride is more of a docile, dumb you down, make you a little bit more open to suggestion. You don't want to push back, you don't want to rebel. Where aluminum, and knowing the different frequencies, they can actually almost flip a switch. They've shown that they can actually make you hear certain voices in your head if they know that you have certain amounts of aluminum that have crossed the blood-brain barrier. And then you think about like all the things that have aluminum. I mean, your cookware, there's tons of cookware that has aluminum. Almost everybody is wrapped their sandwich in aluminum foil or their leftover pizza in aluminum foil at some point. I mean, I'm guilty of that, right?
Mm.
And then when you put it on a pan, you wrap the pan in aluminum foil before you put it in the oven. A lot of times it's in our deodorants, it's in our, like, some of the face creams, some of our shampoos and conditioners, and it's so readily available that, I mean, it's hard to stay away from it. But the dangers that these, just the two of these things that cause, and I mean, obviously we can get into all kinds of different stuff nutritionally, but you just look at the aluminum and the fluoride, those two alone cause tremendous, tremendous problems and just wreak havoc in the body.
It's interesting when you mention frequencies with aluminum because obviously the name of the show is Tinfoil Tales, which is aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
And people,
Yep.
you put it on your head because it's supposed to keep your frequencies from the aliens or whatever from reading your thoughts and everything. That's where the whole concept
Mm-hmm.
came from. So it's kind of a little
Mhm.
nod to the whole frequency thing of it. It still does play into it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, once it's in the body, that's a different story
Mhm.
because there is now this, I don't know if this was completely true or not. This was a story I read fairly recently because the microwave rays, right? Russia was the first ones to figure out what microwaves could do and what the microwave frequencies and rays could do to the mind and how it could alter things, and supposedly now that part is proven. You can find that, the different studies that Russia did back in the day. But now what the story I heard, now I have no idea if this, I did not do a deep dive onto this part or not, but supposedly Russia sent microwave frequencies or rays and purposely um purposely hit the embassy, the US embassy, and were able to alter the brain function. And the only way to stop it, and supposedly they did this so that people stopped trying to use and study and progress with microwave rays. But the tinfoil hats, that the aluminum hats, the tinfoil hats, that was what was the only thing that stopped it from attacking the brain. If you had a tinfoil hat on the outside, it actually stopped the rays from penetrating and altering the mind. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I did read it. I'm not that one. I'm not putting out there. So we'll say that one's for entertainment purposes. But I never did a deep dive into it. But if you look at logically, have you ever put aluminum in a microwave and seen what it does?
Yeah, it starts to spark and burn out things. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It can't go through it in the microwave, right? It starts to spark. It actually does repel it, right? So based on that, I don't know. My
I'm
opinion.
I'm
This is
not
opinion,
encouraging
right?
anyone to try this out. But yeah.
Exactly. But it was an interesting story to think of it in that sense. But yeah, if you ingest the aluminum, definitely starts to cause wreak havoc into the body, and it's in so many different products. It's just crazy.
It's not even just the products that it's in things that you said the cookware, but if you drink a soda or like anything that's in a can, it's usually like an aluminum
Yep.
can. My
Yep.
truck is an aluminum body. Like the whole truck
Mm-hmm.
is aluminum. Like no matter what you look around at, I see things in here now. Just looking around, I know that's aluminum. So
Mm-hmm.
it's in so many things that we can't get away from it, but we're not actually ingesting it. We're still surrounded by it.
Yep, absolutely. That's why it was funny. I was on a podcast a little while back. Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe's son, Bledsoe said so, and he asked me at the end, what I, I I forget exactly the question. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, if there was something I could tell people or help people, a simple thing, what would it be? And that's usually what I say is like we can't avoid it completely, right? Because like just like you said, you're looking around now, and anybody who listens to this, they'll probably do the same thing. They'll look around and say, "Wow, that, there's aluminum all around me." Because like you said, if you've had a pop before, if you've had a Sprite or a Coke, you've had it in an aluminum can, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's what I told them. I said, honestly, some of the easiest things, and again, these are little things. It's not like I make money off of Fiji water, right? I can assure you they're not paying me to promote their water, but that's what I tell people: drink clean water, right? Try to stay away from some of these things as much as possible. So if you can use some sort of, that was our big thing with the silver, right? Like in the all natural toothpaste is trying to stay away from the toxins and the heavy metals. So if you can switch your toothpaste, you can switch your deodorant, you can drink clean water. I mean, that's a huge step that really doesn't you're going to buy toothpaste no matter what. You're probably going to buy deodorant no matter what. So if you just switch the brand to something that's healthy, and then like I use a shower filter because of all the toxins that are in the water. So we do these different things to try to avoid ingesting them, and then we go into the shower, which our skin is the largest organ on our body. So then it's like a sponge and it absorbs all these toxins. So I use a shower filter too. That way, at least when I shower. But these are all little things, and I'm not I'm in good shape. I'm like I said, I'm into fitness and nutrition, but I still eat pizza. I still like pizza and Mexican food, and so it's not like I'm a you know like that. Yep, that's it. I don't eat anything but salad, but I just try to avoid some of the obvious things that have the toxins in them and the stuff that's around us and things of that nature.
If you look at the ingredients of what they put in our food and our drinks, anyways, I just, at this point, I was like, I'm 40 something years old now. The damage has probably already been done at this point, just from the amount of stuff that is in our food and our water and everything. But you have to think about my children and my grandchildren, and like it goes further than that.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely. Absolutely, exactly. Because I got kids too, and and I try to tell them the same stuff. But you're right. When you look at the ingredients that's in our foods, but one thing, if you looked at, I don't know if you've ever seen any of this. I could actually like when I could look for it and I could actually email some of it off to you. But when you look at the ingredients of what was in, let's just say McDonald's, even McDonald's, the ingredients from when we were kids growing up to the ingredients that's in there now is completely different. Like when we were growing up, McDonald's made their French fries and they cooked it in tallow, right? They cooked it in beef tallow, which there's a lot of actual health benefits with beef tallow. And it was actually like three ingredients. It was like potatoes, oil, potatoes, the beef tallow, and salt. Now there's 17 ingredients in McDonald's French fries.
which is insane.
17 ingredients. Yeah. Like what ask a farmer what ingredients go into a French fry, right? He's gonna say a potato. I mean,
There was a
but now
documentary, I forget what it was about 10 years ago, but they showed how they were making McDonald's hamburgers and they injected it with some sort of a pink slime looking type thing into their meat.
yeah. Did you there was there was a special, I don't know if it was a Dateline thing or what news thing it was, But that's interesting. You brought that up. The pink, because I think they called it pink goo or something, pink slime or pink goo.
It was like pink
And
slime, I
there was a
think.
company, and nobody, and even to this day, there was I only saw one thing on it. They only had like a couple pictures of it. It was, I mean, it was the most buried, hidden thing. And there was a company, nobody knew what the company did. It was a multi-billion-dollar company, but that's what they made. They manufactured this pink goo, and that was supposed to be the filler, the quote unquote filler that went into these burgers.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows what it is to this day. I still don't know. I would love if you found whoever knows the information on it, I'd love to meet that person, because to this day, and I do, like, I have a product, obviously, right? I have the toothpaste, I have the deodorant and everything. So I'm trying to help people in that way. But I'm somebody who goes down a lot of rabbit holes. That's why when I saw you and I saw Tinfoil Tales, that's an awesome name. Like I was like, that's so cool, because some of the rabbit holes that I go down, oh yeah, I definitely am as far, probably as far from mainstream as you can imagine. So, but stuff like that, like the pink goo, what's in it? That's what I want to know. Like what exactly is in this pink slime?
I've actually tried to look for it before, and this was before I was even doing the podcast, and I couldn't find anything about it. I was like, I remember seeing that somewhere. I was like, was it just fake? I was like, but I saw it on TV. It was like either a documentary or, like you said, a news clip. I remember
Yeah.
something about it, and then it's just gone.
Yeah, see, that was the same thing. It was the same thing. It was like a documentary or a clip or something, and then you try to find stuff on it now. It is one of the most hidden things, and those are the things that really interest me. Is the ones that like are really really hidden.
Got to get on the dark
Like
web to find it.
that's probably the only way.
Say,
Like, even, like, not to go completely off subject or topic, but even like the reptilian stuff, you don't see a lot of people talking about like the reptiles and reptilian stuff. I mean, I think Billy Carson, he's got on Forbidden Knowledge, Roderick, he goes into a lot of reptilian stuff, but that, I mean, you would that's pretty hidden, the reptilian information and everything. And I don't know how many people are going down that rabbit hole and whatnot.
There's been a few
That
episodes on
interests
here
me
we've
too.
talked about it, and I've interviewed people that have done some research, and I've actually interviewed people that has claimed that they have seen these things. So
I've never met anyone that's seen one, but I definitely, it's interesting to hear the theories on the bloodlines and the reptilian bloodlines and all this different stuff. It's really interesting. But what I find the most interesting on some of this stuff is when you can't find anything. That's what I think is interesting on a lot of the questionable things. You can't find certain things, and some things, like you know like we both said about the pink slime. I saw it, you saw it, like we know that we saw this out there, whether it was a news clip or a documentary, and now it's almost impossible to find any information on it. Like, how is that possible?
I feel like there wasn't just, there was some other stuff too. There was just talking about like the stuff that they put in their foods, and it showed that, and there was a couple other things that was showing. But if you think about all the things, to be 100% honest, I don't know when the last time I've actually ate a McDonald's hamburger. I've never been a fan of the hamburger in general, like from there.
Yep, me
So
too.
the pink slime, just, I wasn't eating them anyways at that point. I was like, well, that just reinforces me to not eat them, because I just didn't like McDonald's hamburgers. But
Yep.
even like when you eat their chicken, I was like, it's not even real chicken half the time. Like when you go to these places, you're getting processed food. Like the chicken nuggets isn't even chicken. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But and that's, you think about it again, that's a simple change that people can make, right? Is you stop eating some of the foods that we know are unhealthy. And I mean, my kids for sure. That was the big one. Like, years ago, my son loved chicken nuggets. So it's funny you mentioned that, because then you start seeing, yeah, that's not really chicken. It's paste and all these things put together and so on and so forth. And that goes into, I've had people come up to me at some of the shows, and that's like, especially the holistic ones, and they're like, well, if you just stop eating some of these things, you don't need toothpaste, and you don't need to brush your teeth. And I, I've changed. I've gone through moments where I've had a pretty healthy diet and I still brush my teeth. Like, that's still something that I do.
Yeah, I don't have a strict diet or anything. I probably should, but there's certain things that I'm very picky as it is. So I already eliminate entire food groups just because I'm not a huge fruit or vegetable eater when I probably should be. There's certain things I will eat and there's certain things I won't eat. But for me,
Mhm.
I was like, if I was just strictly a carnivore, I could probably get away with it. But I know a few people that do the carnivore diet, and I've considered it. I was like, but I don't want to try it just because I think it'd be hard to maintain.
Yeah, that is the same reason that I haven't really done it either. Because then, to continue to eat steak every single day,
But
yeah, I mean,
eventually,
that can get a little
yeah,
pricey.
it's expensive, and then you'd also get burnout on it, I feel like. And I love steak, but
Yep.
if you ate it every single day, then you're like, I mean, I wish I had the money to do that, but after a while, I'm going to be like, you know what? I want pizza.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's funny because when I when I go out with people and meet people, and they kind of find out my history, fitness, nutrition, and the different things that I've studied. Well, then they always start asking questions about like different foods, different this, different that, and I always tell them, I'm like, look, if you want, I can pull apart everything. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thing. There's all kinds of things out there, like you said, ingredients and stuff like that. Like, but even vegetables, like vegetables have what are called oxalates, and oxalates actually do a lot of damage to your body. A lot of stuff is caused by glyphosates that are sprayed on our fruits and vegetables, and that does wreaks havoc on our body, right? So at the end of the day, you can pull apart so many different things because of the way our foods are manufactured and processed and before it hits our plate. And but that's why I don't feel bad. Like you said, you don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I, that doesn't necessarily mean you're being unhealthy nowadays, because even the fruits and vegetables, depending on where it comes from, I mean, if it was sprayed with glyphosates, which most of it has been sprayed with glyphosates,
mhm.
which the glyphosates is Roundup, basically, right? And that's like a huge factor into all kinds of different cancers, and been found to endocrine disruptors and all kinds of different problems throughout the body and our system is glyphosates. But um glyphosates, fluoride, and I think it was glyphosates, fluoride, and Wi-Fi were the three main things that actually do damage to your pineal gland and calcify the pineal gland, and basically starts to take away our intuition and our psychic abilities, so to speak. And there's all kinds of different terms and ways to look at it, but the way I explain it to people is it's that gut feeling. You walk into a room and somebody doesn't look right, and you get that gut feeling, I don't think I should be here. Well, that starts to go away if you have too much fluoride, if you have uh, too much glyphosates, aluminum. It's fluoride, aluminum, glyphosates, and Wi-Fi. So any of those four things that you have a lot of starts to completely diminish any type of like innate abilities that you might have.
Which in modern times, like even right now, I have Wi-Fi out here. That's how I'm connected to talk with you is through Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
We can't escape. We
Same.
can't escape the aluminums. We
Nope.
can't escape the Wi-Fi. We can't escape the things because this is how society has become. We're dependent upon the
Hmm.
things that are harmful to
We're
us.
flooded with
Yeah.
it. Yep, we're flooded with it. So that's why, like, well, and that was another big thing of because when we formulated our toothpaste, we had a few different formulations we were going to go with. So there's an Indian herb called neem, and it's like they refer to it as like the plaque destroyer, but it's 100 years ago, that's what they did in India was they chewed on a neem stick, and that was how they took care of their teeth. And that was definitely one of the main ones we were looking at. It was neem, bee propolis, and then the silver. But the silver had so many scientific studies behind it, but it also was one of the few things that helps reverse, like it helps to get rid of parasites. It helps to cleanse the body. It's antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and stuff like that. So that was like a big reason that we used the silver. Was it wasn't just a really really proven strong antibacterial, but it helped with all these other ailments and issues that our body basically gets put through the ringer with. So that was another big reason why we went with the silver. And then now we're definitely happy we went that route, because a lot of dentists that we talk to, we get a very heavy pushback about the no fluoride thing. But the main thing that they typically say is, well, my patients, any patients I have that switch to an all natural toothpaste get more cavities. And that's the one thing I'll say, that when a dentist says that, I concede, I'll admit, statistically, if somebody switches to an all natural toothpaste, statistically, there's more cavities. But that's because most all natural toothpaste don't have an antibacterial agent. But silver is the antibacterial agent that we use. And like I was saying earlier, that's why we nanitize it, because then it gets all through the mouth, in between the tooth and the gum. And silver will kill the bad bacteria, but it doesn't kill the good. So that's what's a huge benefit to it, because prior to 1936, if you had a bacterial, viral, or fungal infection and you went to the hospital, you went to a med center, silver is what the doctor gave you. It's the strongest natural antibiotic known to man, and because it kills the bad and it doesn't kill the good. But then right around that was still right around the time they were pumping out fluoride, trying to make nuclear weapons. But also after 1936, what they did was synthesize antibiotics. So once they synthesized antibiotics, they outlawed silver. They outlawed most of the other natural products from hospitals and med centers. And then I don't know if have you ever heard of MRSA?
Yeah, that's the isn't it like almost like
It's like the super.
it's like a super infection, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Like a super infection, super bug that you usually contracted at the hospital.
So,
And what it does is it adapts to all these synthesized antibiotics. So that's why they've had to continuously create new antibiotics, because they have to offset the MRSA. And prior to 1936, MRSA didn't exist because silver can kill it on contact.
so
that's some of the stuff that they don't like to tell you, but that's what we use in our toothpaste is silver, not MRSA. Let me make that clear.
well, it brings up something I was going to say, which is probably going to get me in trouble, but if they know that things like silver can kill off these bacterias or whatever, how come that's not being commonly used in big pharma stuff? Because if they're wanting to cure people of sickness, then maybe they should be using things that they know can cure it. But instead, they only want to wean you because they need a repeat customer. I don't feel like they're wanting to cure people or heal people. They just want to keep your money coming towards them because they just keep you alive long enough to keep collecting.
That's the idea. I mean, when you look at the big triangle, to me is you have Monsanto, right? Monsanto is originally known for manufacturing poisons, right? They're the ones that manufactured Agent Orange back in Vietnam. So that was their main thing, was basically manufacturing poison. Roundup was, the next thing that they did to spray the crops with, so bugs and different things didn't eat the crops. Now they merged with Bayer pharmaceuticals. So now Monsanto is, and also obviously Monsanto is one of the largest food manufacturers in the farming industry. So now you have Monsanto, who is one of the largest manufacturers of poisons, one of the largest food manufacturers, and now merged with Bayer, who is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. So now this triangle, even my son was like, my son, what I think he was 10 when we talked about it. He's like, how is that a thing? Like, I don't understand how that could be allowed. I said, yeah. So if you get sick from a poison and that poison is on your food, it's very readily available, right? They can put it on anything. You spray it on crops. Well, now if you get sick, they also are the ones that sell you the medicine that supposedly helps with that sickness.
I just saw something the other day, and I have not confirmed this, so by the time this comes out, but supposedly there was a recall for some sunscreen. I think it was a Johnson and Johnson because the ingredient was linked to leukemia, but I'm pretty sure like the ingredient that causes leukemia is also the ingredient that they use to treat leukemia. So the things that could possibly make people sick is also the things they're treating and for it. So it's like that's kind of a weird one. Like, so
Yeah, but yeah, how is that allowed,
yeah,
right?
it's like you're making, that can make people sick, but you can also give them the cure. So it's like, are you doing it intentionally to make people sick so you have the cure for it as well, or the treatment for it? So again, you're making money left over, right? Just because people are getting sick, but you also have a way to help treat it, even though you were probably the reason they got sick.
Absolutely. Well, they said the same thing about shampoos. And same thing. I did not do enough research into this one, but a couple people had said to me that, and I don't know which company it was, which manufacturer, but in the same aisle, in one aisle, you have all these different shampoos and conditioners, and then they've shown and proven that it actually causes hair loss, which a lot of that comes from aluminum as well. And then in the exact same aisle, just a little further down the aisle, by the same company, by the same company, they have products that help with hair growth. So the same company that's creating shampoos and conditioners that will ultimately make your hair fall out, they also produce a product that fixes that. So then you go and you buy that instead.
Mm-hmm.
So they create the problem, and then look at that, we got the solution too.
Yep. It's all a big marketing scheme, but
yep,
we've been going on for close to an hour, so I feel like we can probably wrap this up soon, but I want you to talk more about your products and your business and where everyone can find it at before we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, and on I have the products on both sites. So if somebody went to Noble Metals Wellness, the deodorants on there, the supplements with the methylene blue and monatomic gold. We have the nano silver on there. A nano silver soap as well. And then on Fresh Mouth, it's the Fresh Mouth Club, and there we have the toothpaste which has the nano silver in it. We have a couple other things. A perio switch, which is kind of like a coconut oil pulling, but it helps with periodontal disease. But our normal kit comes with like the toothpaste, the brush, the rinse, which also it's a concentrate of silver xylitol and peppermint extract. So you do like 3-4 drops in an ounce of water. That's what you rinse with after you brush. That kind of, instead of just spitting all the silver out when you brush your teeth and you rinse, this way you're rinsing with the silver rinse, and that kind of enhances it. And this way it kills that bad bacteria in the mouth, but it doesn't kill that good. So this way you never have to worry about, well, I don't want to say you never have to worry about bad breath, but it definitely helps reverse any type of like halitosis or gingivitis and things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, we've made it super easy for everybody. And then our floss, a lot of people don't realize that most flosses have fluoride in it as well. So our floss is fluoride free. It's like a charcoal base with like a coconut coating over it. So yeah, it's we've kind of put a lot of research and effort into creating something that has is more of an advanced brushing system. And even our teeth whitening kit, teeth whitening is not a wellness product or a wellness thing, right? And I always tell people, when you use a teeth whitening kit, it can soften the enamel or weaken the enamel and cause sensitivity. Ours, not saying it's healthy, but it's the healthier option if somebody whitens their teeth, because ours has the red light. So kind of like red light therapy. A lot of people have heard about benefits of red light therapy. Ours has the blue light, which will help whiten the teeth, and it's like 6 shades whiter. But then it also has the red light, so you do the red light right after, and then that gives you kind of like the red light therapy aspect and treatment onto the teeth to stop the sensitivity issue. So there's a lot of different benefits and even information that we have on the websites. People can go on there, and even if they wanted to just kind of learn about some of the ingredients, because a lot of the ingredients are healthy, and you can buy them in other places too. But we also have the dangers of aluminum, dangers of fluoride, dangers of some of these other toxins, parasites, and stuff like that people can, at the very least and very minimal, read up on some of that information, so that way make better choices or make healthier choices as they progress.
If you want to send me an email with all the information, like for links and stuff, I can include that in the show notes for anyone listening, where they can find more information about your products and where they can look into it at.
Absolutely. What I'll do is I'll send some of the links, and then I'll send you a couple links that you can fill out. That way you'll have like an affiliate link, and then you could just attach the affiliate link on there so people can click on that, and you get some benefits out of it. And then did I give you some of the toothpaste at the show when I saw you?
You gave me, I think, 2 tubes, and
Okay.
I have not tried it yet, but I honestly don't know where it is. I come home and I unloaded everything, and I don't know if they're still in like one of my boxes or not, but I was just at an event recently and they weren't in there. So I don't know if my friend took them to help me or where they went. But
okay, if you can, email me an address I can send to, and I'll send you a bunch of our products to try too.
Okay.
That way you can try out the toothpaste, try out the deodorant, some of the other stuff that we have. Like we got a UV that actually kills the bacteria on the toothbrush. So, they Discovery Channel did a study that showed your toilet brush is actually cleaner than your toothbrush. So we have a UV. You drop the toothbrush in it. It fits any brush head, right? So any toothbrush you have, it fits. So you drop your toothbrush in it, you close it, the UV turns on, and then it turns off by itself. So all you got to do, you put the toothbrush in there, you close it, you leave it on the counter. Next time you're going to brush your teeth, it's all done. You take out the clean toothbrush. You don't have to use the toilet brush anymore to brush your teeth. But a lot of people, that's probably one of our number one selling items is the UV, and then it's got a little fan built in there so it helps dry the brush. But yeah, so but I'll send you a bunch of different things, that way you could kind of try it out, see how you like it and stuff, and let me know. But I'll also email you the links that you can fill out. That way you can just attach the links to the podcast so people can just click on it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, Tony,
awesome.
It's been a pleasure talking with you.
You as well, Brandon. You as well. If there's anything else that I could do for you, just shoot me an email. Let me know. Otherwise, yeah, if you can just email me your address, that way I could send some stuff out to you. And and then look forward to hearing the podcast in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up. So thanks to Tony, and thanks for listening. If you would like to be a guest on Tinfoil Tales, remember to send an email to tinfoiltalespodcast@gmail.com, or you can also go to tinfoiltales.com and go to the contact section. Just make sure to reach out and get a hold of me, and we will get something scheduled for a future episode. You can also find Tinfoil Tales on Facebook and Instagram. Just look for Tinfoil Tales Podcast. You can reach out to me that way too. Remember to share the show around. Word of mouth is the best way to help the show grow. And just remember, truth comes at cost. Are you willing to pay the price?